This video is sponsored by Aquashine Exteriors, professional jet washing and cleaning services across Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole, including Dorset, Hampshire and Wiltshire. Are you feeling it's time to get that driveway nice and shiny for when you come home? Or are you wanting to get that guttering tidied up and spotless again? They deliver this, plus much, much more. Please head into the description below where you'll find their details for their website, including the socials, Facebook and Instagram. You also need to find their before and after portfolio. You can also call them on 07503 998 088 for a free quotation. Don't wait till next week. Don't think you'll do it another day. Pick up the phone, give them a call, check them out. Good evening, everyone. I'm back in the gaffer's chair. Although Jon did a fantastic job last week, I've given him the night off, and it's 8th versus 9th in the Premier League this weekend. Craven Cottage, Bournemouth, Fulham. We meet again. Lots to talk about this evening in the match preview. Get your hellos in the chat. Who's currently joining us? Can see lots of you already, but do let us know. Do use that interactive chat. You've done it again, Bournemouth fans, and anyone who follows the channel. We've gone to our next 1,250 subscribers on YouTube. Thank you very much. Let's continue on to the next one. But a massive thank you from everyone at Cherries Red Army. Also hit the like button on this video. It takes about 0.001 seconds to do. It really helps the video. It helps this preview grow until 3 p.m. on Saturday. So hit that like button and let's make sure the people in the chat keep reminding everyone to hit that like on this video throughout the evening. If you weren't able to watch this video back, or you weren't able to watch it live, you can watch this video back. So make sure you do get your thoughts in the comments because we read every single one. I enjoyed reading some of the comments off the back of that 2-1 Leicester result, and there's some interesting stats that came out of that as well. Right, lots to talk about tonight. As I said, we've got the match build-up, the opposition view. We're going to announce our winners from our September giveaway. We've got the quiz. We've got the predicted lineup. We've got match predictions, your score predictions to come as well. Look, loads to get on with between now and 9 o'clock. So I think we waste no time. I think we get straight into it. And let's get on with the match preview from kickoff, shall we?
Cheeky one, square, and
And from kickoff inside 10 seconds, I had to get it in, Matt. It's our opposition view to start the match preview. It's Matt from the Fulham Focus. How are you, buddy?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks, mate. Good to be back on. And yeah, I mean, doing good. 9th place in the Premier League. And, you know, I'm sure with yourselves as well, we're all feeling a little bit dizzy, personally.
Yeah, it's a great start for both teams. It's going to be quite a nice preview. But tell us about Fulham Focus, anything you're covering over this weekend.
So we're going to be doing a reaction podcast. We've already done our preview podcast, which is available on Spotify. We reacted to our defeat to West Ham and being done over by VAR. And then we do chat a little bit about Bournemouth as well, and a little bit about your old manager. And then, we'll react to that next week when we preview our game after that.
As always, details for our opposition guests are in the description below. The links to Twitter. Go and check out the podcast for this weekend from a Fulham perspective. Who's joining us in the chat? We've got Chris Hubble. Good evening. We've got Sammy Morgan. How are you? We've also got AFC Bournemouth Germany. Mark Singleton. Great to see you at Dean Court last weekend. Nick Jenkins. How are you? Carol Toller. Good to see you. Neil Whedon. Great to see you again at Dean Court. We've got Liam Humby and Jonathan Spark, who's kicking back, enjoying a night off after his great work on Cherries Red Army recently. Right, let's get into it, Matt. Talk to us about Marco Silva. We spoke to you before the season kicked off. You were feeling pretty positive. There were some fans outside of Fulham that thought he's not a manager for the Premier League, but as you've said, you're ninth, you're doing okay, and certain players in the team are scoring, which we'll talk about, but you're happy so far.
Yeah, I mean, we've adapted, which was the big thing. And I sort of said about it on the roundtable we did with the Forest fan, is can we adapt to the Premier League? Can we change our playing style? And we did. And we've been brilliant. Okay, we've picked up a few losses. Spurs and Arsenal, both 2-1, played really well. And then recently to Newcastle and West Ham. But there's been positives. We've not been totally out of our depth, and we've been really unlucky with injuries as well this season. But we're doing good. Silva has brought in some fantastic players. They're his signings. It's his team. And again, I said it on the roundtable, it's about improving rather than replacing. And I think that's what we've done. And we've done it really well over the summer. And he's got this team working together and vibing. And we're just playing good football. And some of the results are showing it. Some aren't. But the quality's there, and I'm still as confident as I was at the start of the season that we're going to stay up.
We talk about your last result in our match preview. I'm sure you're not going to want to talk much about it, but actually I feel a little bit sorry for you. Bournemouth have been on the end of quite a few VAR decisions already this season, and I understand where you're coming from. On Saturday, you had some really poor decisions against you. I mean, if you're at Goodison Park, they go for you. But if you're at the London Stadium and you're a Fulham fan, they don't. Talk to us about West Ham 3, Fulham 1, after scoring a very good goal through Pereira.
Yeah, great goal. Great start. We played really well. We started brilliantly. To give away the penalty is frustrating. And Pereira was warned twice about contact with Dawson. So to still, get in a tangle with him is really, really frustrating. If you do watch a footage, Dawson makes the first contact. So you can see why we don't think it's a penalty. Dawson basically clotheslines him. And then the second goal, obvious handball. How VAR doesn't spot it is just unbelievable. And then the third one, I mean, it'll be in the Olympic volleyball team soon. I can guarantee it. It was a joke. Absolutely terrible. And the worst thing is West Ham is that after the decision is made, they played it on the big screen. So obviously all the players are turning around pointing at the screen. All the Fulham fans are turning around and pointing at the screen. But the VAR decision's already been made. But for 3,000 Fulham fans, it is clear as day that it's a handball. So, you win some, you lose some, but VAR is not covering itself in glory yet again. The Championship was better, I suppose, without it.
It's what we loved about the Championship. I mean, the Antonio one's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, I'm not a Fulham fan, but it's absolutely ridiculous. The interesting one about the Scamacca handball is he's not convinced himself after scoring. He's almost settled for the fact that it's going to be disallowed. He's as shocked as anyone when it's given.
I think he might have thought he was offside, but the miraculous thing is that actually when you watch a VAR and it slows it down, the ball changes direction. So for qualified referees to not spot it is outstanding. I just cannot comprehend that these people, professional officials, it beggars belief. But there we go. We just got to dust ourselves down and move on. But it just makes this week even more of a big game. We really need to start picking up the points now.
Talking about other results, you've had then 3 wins this season against Brentford 3-2, Brighton 2-1, Forest 3-2. Lots of goals in all of those games. You haven't kept a clean sheet, but that is 9 points that you've gained through wins and 2 draws to add to that as well.
Yeah, I mean, we both love a win at Forest in the second
We
half, don't
do.
we? I mean, cracking. Absolutely love it. Yeah, no, that was a big win. And to be honest, we should have beaten them. Watching the first half, we went in 1-0 down. And you looked and it was like they're not a very good side, but it's a sort of game that we'll lose 1-0. So to come back and obviously win 3-2 in the end was fantastic. Brighton were unbeaten at the time until we played them. So that was a big game for us against Graham Potter's Brighton then as well. They looked a good side. And Brentford, I mean, we were 2-0 up to start with. So we did let them claw it back to 2-2, but then Mitrovic in the last minute, what a way to win a game, let alone a London derby.
We'll come to him in a moment, but let's talk about some of your other players then that can affect this Premier League fixture on Saturday. I think you spent some money. We talked about that on the round table, and like Paulinho, I think is how you say it. But Pereira, who started quite well at Man United and drifted off, and then went to Brazil. But these players have come in, they've made an impact. You've got Tete on 3 assists, and we'll talk about Mitrovic in a moment. But those players that have been brought in have made an impact instantly by the looks of it.
Yeah, I mean, Paulinho, what a player. He is just outstanding everything he does. And he's become a real fan's favourite. He's got a couple of goals already this season. And he's just what we needed in centre mid. He's hard as nails. He'll get stuck in, but he's got a beautiful pass on him and he can put one in the back of the net as well. And we were without him against Newcastle. He was suspended and Chalobah came in and got sent off within 6 minutes. So it shows how crucial Paulinho is for us. And then Pereira, I wasn't convinced when we signed him. I was a bit like, it's a bit of a rubbish signing. Don't see much ambition, but he's been brilliant. He really cares. He gets on the ball. He's a threat from set pieces. He just looks dangerous. And working with Mitrovic, it's worked really well so far. So those two have been fantastic. One player, we signed Willian on a free transfer, which after his Arsenal career was a bit of an interesting one, but he started his first game against Forest and he was fantastic. He was brilliant. He got an assist. He was making runs. For the third goal, he dragged the left back away and left Harrison Reed to score his first goal for Fulham in his 4th season. So William was fantastic, and I'm really looking forward to him being back because he brings some much needed experience.
Let's talk about the man then that you were looking forward to seeing in the Premier League, and that's Alexander Mitrovic. A lot of fans outside of Fulham again doubted him in the Premier League, but he gave Liverpool the runaround early on. Picked up an injury. We need to know if he's fit for Saturday. Don't know if you know, but he has scored 6 goals already. I think he's gone past his previous experiences in the Premier League, and he looks very much up for this Premier League campaign.
Yeah, 6 goals already, and people are already backtracking, and it is just fantastic to see. We always knew it. We know how good he is. Championship fans know how good he is. Could he do it? You bet he can. He's just been brilliant. He's still got some way to go. We got 11 in the 2018-19 season, but he's playing. He's the main man, and just he scores headers. He scored a great goal against Spurs, against Liverpool. I mean, Van Dijk's not been the same since that game, and he got the best of Alexander-Arnold as well. So he's just there, and we missed him last week. But I have heard he's going to be fit this week. So will there be a bit of fatigue in him coming back? I hope not, because we need him. We need him to start firing again. And it's a big game for him. He got a goal away at Bournemouth last year. But this is a whole different ball game. We're in the Premier League now. Bournemouth look a great side, and it's going to be a challenge for him. It's going to be a challenge for Mitrovic to get a goal. But, I have firm belief, and I don't think he's going to stop scoring yet. I mean, he's got loads more to get. I'm confident he could get 20 goals this season.
Big shout there from Matt from the Fulham Focus. But he's got a big test this weekend, by the way. He's got to come up against Chris Mepham, who stopped Haaland scoring. Not many defenders have done that. Talk to us about the lineup then, really. I mean, that was your last lineup against West Ham. How much different could that be on Saturday? You've got the likes of Daniel James. I'm seeing Harry Wilson on the bench. Yeah, talk to us about the lineup. Could it be much different?
Yeah, so obviously we played Bobby Reid at right back there, you'll see, number 14, which was a strange one. He's a winger by trade. And to have him as fullback was interesting when Mbabu was on the bench. But Mbabu hasn't had a great start. So Kenny Tete is likely to be fit this weekend. So I could see him slotting back into right back, which will be fantastic. And then Mitrovic up front for Vinicius. I do like Vinicius. I think he's a good backup to have. But obviously, he's not going to start over Mitrovic. And then on the wings, Dan James, he's quick. He hit the bar last week. But other than that, he didn't really do much. He wasn't really in the game. Now, I can't see Harry Wilson coming in for him just yet. Wilson's been out for a few months with a knee injury. So I can see probably Bobby Reed getting pushed up a little bit, James dropping out, and then Tete coming in for him and slotting into his natural right back.
Now, someone said that we might have been under-equipped to play in this Premier League and that we needed to sign multi-million-pound players. You probably know what I'm talking about. How are you impressed with Bournemouth being 8th, one position ahead of you this season?
Oh, I'm astounded. I mean, it's fantastic. I'm so happy for you guys, for the fans. You deserve it. Obviously, there was a little thing when Parker was in charge. It's not that we don't like Bournemouth. We don't like Scott Parker. So that was a thing. And I feel like that gets lifted when he left. So I'm really, really happy to see Bournemouth doing so well. Gary O'Neill is really doing the business, isn't he? And, from an outsider perspective, it would be criminal if he doesn't get the job. They've hung on a while, so I think he has to get it. But it makes Saturday a tougher game. You're set up well defensively. All right, there's the odd goal going in, but goodness me, you've shored up a lot. And I think just you've got a manager in. All right, he's a caretaker, but you've got someone in who believes in the players. He's not blaming them. You notice it when Parker's gone. The club can be in a worse place morally. Anyway, and Bournemouth are really doing the business, and as it's great to see us both in 8th and 9th, and we deserve to be there. There might be some stats on expected points or whatever, but we are where we are for a reason. We've got the amount of points we have, so just about building on that. And I think we both need to hit the 38-point mark. I think there's 3 worse teams than both of us in the Premier League, certainly at the moment. So just about keeping it up, isn't it? Because it's a long old season.
Going to echo those comments, right? You've got 1 minute, Matt, to think about your score prediction. Are there any players you're worried about from a Bournemouth point of view? And are you going to be alert from kickoff this time?
Yeah, Solanke's an interesting one, isn't he? I'm not looking forward to that. I feel like we've just got to get stuck in on that early kickoff, because Crawley tried it earlier this year in the Cup and it nearly worked. Yeah, Solanke obviously is always a good player. He likes scoring against us, and that goal showed that. I like Senesi. I don't know if he's fit or if he's going to play, but he's a good player. He's one I wanted us to sign as well, actually. That was a really good signing. Probably something good that Scott Parker did, to be fair to him. So, and then Lerma gets stuck in. That's going to be an interesting battle in the midfield. We've got Reed and Polinia, and then you've got Lerma and probably Lewis Cook in there as well, who I'm a big fan of. So there's interesting battles all over the pitch, and it's going to be a really good contest. I don't think it's going to swing one way or the other massively. If it is going to go one way, it's going to be a tight contest, and I'm nervous. It's a big game. It's always a big game. With all due respect, I was on the Forest podcast before we played them, and I said these are the games you need to look at taking points from.
Yeah,
because they're the best opportunities. It's the same if you play likes of Leicester at the moment, or Villa, Wolves. You need to be looking at taking maximum points, because you don't get them every week. It's not like the Championship, It's you lose more than you win. So it's a big game for both clubs.
Big game. Looking forward to it. Right, Matt, been great to have you on again. Give us an opposition view. But what's your score prediction? We have a good record at Craven Cottage,
Yeah, I know. I'm hoping it's not going to be another 5-1 or whatever it was a few years ago. I'm going to go 2-1 Fulham, because we will ship a goal. But I think Mitrovic is going to score 1 or 2.
Well, good luck for the rest of the season. I'm sure we'll catch up again. We hope you have an off day on Saturday, but we hope it's a good Premier League game. Matt, have a good weekend with the Fulham Focus podcast. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Good luck for the rest of the season, and see you in April, probably.
Fantastic.
Cheers.
We'll let you go, Matt. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Fantastic. So that's your opposition view on this match preview. We've got more to come, though, because we've got our Cherries perspective. We've got Matt. We've got Steve. waiting backstage to come on where we've got lots to talk about. But it's that time of the month where I need to tell you about the winners for the September giveaways. If you're a monthly member or you've donated to the channel on buymeacoffee.com/cherriesredarmy.com/Cherries Red Army, there was an opportunity for you to win prizes. Sorry, it's been a bit delayed, but I missed last week. But here it comes. Here's our winners. I'll get in touch with you soon. And should we find out who's won the prizes? It's that time in the month again where we announce our prize winners for anyone who's a monthly member at buymeacoffee.com/Cherries Red Army or donated. It's September. First giveaway is a beanie. Who's the winner? Well done to you for winning the AFC Bournemouth beanie. I'll be in contact. Second prize is for, hang on, throw it, careful, a mug and a coaster. Don't throw the coaster. Who's going to win the second prize? There's our prize winners for September then. Well done to you. Thank you for supporting the channel. Want to get involved? Our new prize will be out. Kirk will let you know. I'll let you know on this show for October. Go ahead to buymeacoffee.com/Cherries Red Army. Become a member or donate. We'll very much appreciate it. Back to me on the show.
Mate, you're on mute. Kirk, you're on mute. Yeah.
Speaking all that time on mute. There we go.
I did message you in the chat. And
I thought it was me.
Well done to Morgan and Sammy for winning those prizes.
Yeah, just repeat the last 10 minutes, yeah?
Yeah, we'll repeat the last 10 minutes. Right. Well done to Sammy and Morgan for winning those prizes. We do have an October giveaway. If you're a monthly member or donate to the channel, do go ahead and you'll be able to win an AFC Bournemouth scarf or a Dean Court street sign. And we'll come again. Here we go, Matt. Now, welcome to the match preview. Now, a year or so ago, Matt, we were doing a watch along when I was trying to get to grips with the second half and you were well awake. Look, let's see what happened as we were in the fan zone of the watch along for Bournemouth versus Fulham at Craven Cottage. Matt, I'll keep you in just for a few minutes more. We're just about to kick off. We have just kicked off. So the second half has started.
Dom's in.
Dom's in. Let's go! From kickoff.
Get in!
Dom Solanke. And thanks to
From
Matt,
the
my eyes
kickoff.
weren't even on it.
It's incredible.
Inside 10 seconds.
What a
Not
goal.
even Sky Sports are ready for it. They've given it to Fulham. On the scoreboard.
Fulham 1,
It's
Bournemouth 0, it says.
Fulham
I can tell you it's
AFC
definitely not.
Bournemouth 1. Good times, Matt. How are you? Welcome to this preview.
Yeah, I'm well, Kirk. Yeah, there were good times, weren't there? Yeah, good. I mean, we rode our luck, didn't we, that night? But it was a good game. It was pulsating, and we managed to take the point. And that goal was just took us all by surprise, didn't it? Start of the second half, phenomenal stuff.
Steve, you were there in the stadium. Not sure if you saw the goal, but absolute limbs in the Bournemouth end.
I was getting covered in beer in the concourse because everyone saw it on the TV, but no one knew what was going on until the beer started flying everywhere. Unfortunately, I was there, but unfortunately I missed the goal, which was a shame. But yeah, good night. And also makes me think of Steve Cook that game where he did his heroics, throwing himself in front of the ball, not once, but not once, but twice, and not using his hands for a change. You know, he just did it fairly this time.
Yeah,
very true. Right, let's return to last weekend in the Premier League, Matt. It was Bournemouth 2, Leicester 1. Gary O'Neill played the long game. Pretty much everyone wanted changes in the stadium, but he hung on, and then we turned it around inside about 5 minutes. We'll see some images from that game in a moment. Still unbeaten, massive 3 points against a team that's also struggling down in the relegation zone. We're not, but Leicester are.
Huge, yeah. I mean, I couldn't see it coming at half time. I thought the game, although we didn't play badly first half, I just didn't think we imposed ourselves enough on the game. And for the onus is very much on us always. You know, whoever we're playing against, we have to take the game to teams, don't we, as the home team? And I understand that there's got to be a balance to that. And Gary O'Neill is trying to strike that balance. We don't want to be too open. We want to remain solid. And I thought in our own half, we did look that. We looked well organised. We looked well drilled. Adam Smith did a job on James Maddison, but it affected the balance of us going forward. And we missed fluffed a few chances, didn't we, going forward? And it wasn't great overall, was it, first half? So you're sort of coming out second half thinking, what's going to happen here? We could nick a point, but it's looking unlikely at the moment. It's more than likely they're going to nick another one up the other end as we go for it a little bit more second half. And I just couldn't see us putting the ball in the net. But what changed second half, as I've gone on record as saying, is that the approach to the game, not so much the formation or the tactics, but just the general attitude and our approach to it changed. And you know that's what we got. It was a phenomenal turnaround second half, and it's all about confidence, isn't it? Once we get that goal and we nick the goal back at 1-1, for me, there's only going to be one winner from there, and we kicked on and thoroughly deserved the 3 points in the end.
Steve, we gave away a poor goal. There was opportunities to clear that ball up the pitch and we conceded early on. But like we've spoken about before, we regrouped, we went again, we stayed in the game and we got better as the game went on. And that's what Gary O'Neill's drilled into this team. He said afterwards that the characters are fantastic. They're giving everything and we're getting the results from the hard work and the positivity that's currently in the group.
Yeah, I think the goal was a little bit one of those. We tried to clear it. It sort of hit, it ended up ricocheting around a bit and it just fell to the feet. It was unfortunate, I thought, because I thought, like Matt said, we were well organised. We dealt with him pretty well most of that first half. But then the second half, like I said, what I think is really good that Gary O'Neill was doing is he is tinkering around with the team. And usually you'd say that's not a great thing. You look back at what Tyndall was doing before when he was tinkering around, messing around with personnel, systems, and it just didn't look right. It didn't feel right. There was no coherency. There was, we didn't look right game to game. But Gary O'Neill seems to be tweaking and making these little changes, subtle little changes, the formation and the personnel, and they seem to be working well for him. It's not like they're looking at each other going, we don't know what we're doing. This seems like it's being worked on, and they're getting into a sort of way of being adaptable for certain situations they find themselves. And we found ourselves 1-0 down, we found ourselves 2-0 down at Forest, and we came back both times. And you've got to say hats off to Gary and his coaching staff for what they're doing, because it's obviously sinking in, and the guys are he's getting a tune out of the guys.
Talking about Gary O'Neill then, guys, and I'll come to both of you because there's a lot of chat going around on social media at the moment. Does Gary O'Neill deserve the job now? Does he wait, or do we wait until the takeover in the World Cup? Do we wait until January? Look, where are you at? Because Jon Spark, he put a little poll out on Twitter. Let's bring it up on the screen, shall we? Just to gain the views of the Bournemouth fans. And he went, look, would you give Gary O'Neill the job now? 10.2%. No, too risky, 17.8%. Wait till World Cup. That's my vote. Wait till World Cup, 72%. I have said, and I spoke to Ahmed Shubal the other day, Matt, that I love Gary O'Neill. I think he brings a lot of attributes and we don't want to lose him. But he's in this little run. I think the ball's rolling for him. We came back against Forest. He played the long game the other day and it turned out to be a good decision, but it could have gone the other way as well. But there is an experience there as a manager. And the minute you turn into a manager and you sign that 3-year contract, things change. It's weird. I don't want to lose Gary O'Neill, but I also don't want him to take this massive job too soon. It is a balancing act for both himself and the club.
Yeah, absolutely. No decision's going to be made before a takeover being rubber stamped by the Premier League. I don't think any long-term or permanent decisions going to be made. And I think that the remit very much is from the top for Gary O'Neill. Keep us away from that bottom three until January. Keep doing the job you're doing, taking it game by game, get as many points on the board as you can, get us as far away from that bottom three as you can, and let's assess it. Let's sit down around tables and assess it in January. I think that's the sensible approach. I don't think you'd want to commit to giving the fella a 3-year deal. I've got a lot of respect for him. I always have. I respected him as a player. I've got friends who are, obviously I lived in the Portsmouth area for 6 years, and he was well thought of at Portsmouth. Even when he was a pundit on Sky Sports, I always respected him. I always liked him. I thought he was a student of the game. He had great knowledge. He was very articulate. He came across very well, and the players are obviously liking that as well. They're obviously respecting him, and they're obviously buying into him. Don't underestimate the part that Tommy Elphick is playing either behind the scenes, because I think he offers a lot. Neither of them have got experience at this level in management, but what they have got is they've got a lot of passion, they've got a lot of commitment, and they've been there and they've done it in teams where they've won promotion from the Championship. They played in the Premier League, and they've got a lot of character about them. So I just think let's take it game to game and carry on until January. Get this takeover through, see what that's all about, and see what Bill Foley and his consortium think about it. Let's see where we're at in January, because as we've seen before, football is a fickle game, and it can also change in a heartbeat. 9-0 away at Liverpool, everybody had written us off, most of our own fan base included, saying, that's it, we're done, we're relegated, we probably won't get as many points as Derby did. We'll probably beat that record that they had that season. And now look at it now. And it could swing the other way again, couldn't it? We're only in October. So let's just take it game by game. Let's take a pragmatic approach, and let's not do anything rash and see what happens.
I have said, Steve, that I think it's a nice blend. Gaz, Tommy and Coops, they all bring something different. The ball's not completely in Bournemouth's court, though, with regards to Gary O'Neill as potential manager, because as more managers lose jobs in the Championship and he continues to do well, the ball's a little bit in his court as well.
Well, yeah, it's not, there's plenty of jobs cropping up as there's a couple in the Championship of late have been given their marching orders. So there will be, I'm sure there'll be more to come in the Premier League. So I think you're right in that regard, but there's always that case of a new manager bounce, isn't there, as well? So it's a change of scenery. The players weren't obviously playing for Scott, or the relationship wasn't there. And then someone else has taken over the reins who they get on with, and it's all going well for us at the moment. Like Matt said, it's early days in this, but what he has done, he's taken us from having the worst defensive record in the league. I know you can take the teams we played into account, to pretty much the best defensive, form in the league. So, like you said, there's a nice little blend there. Coops has obviously got the respect of the younger lads. He's worked with a few of them. They know him. He's, from all accounts, he's a really good man manager, quite tactically astute as well. Tommy, like you said, he's got the passion. He's got he knows what it's like to be in the Premier League with Bournemouth. He knows what it's like to get there, and that holy sort of grail of playing in the Premier League. So I'm sure he can put, sort of impart a lot of his wisdom onto the guys that haven't been there before. So yeah, it's a difficult one. At the moment, it's his to lose, isn't it? He's not doing anything wrong. He's turned our season around, like Matt's just said. We were everyone's fodder to go down, and now we're asking the question, we'll be in Europe surely by the end of this, so but who knows what's going to happen. Bill Foley could really, come in and do loads of things we didn't expect, but it's a bit of a unknown time for us. That's the other thing, isn't it, with the takeover?
With the takeover, Bill Foley is informed of potential managers, and he'll be watching Gary O'Neill very closely. So we'll have to see if he can keep that unbeaten record on Saturday, because we'll have a look at that predicted lineup for this weekend, and we'll get your score predictions later. Now, popular demand, guys. I wasn't here last week, but due to popular demand, they want the quiz back. The fans are asking for it, and I'm going to have to put someone in the limelight and on the spot. And I can see Matt's panicking already. He's almost thinking, I haven't done my homework here, but I've got to stick someone in there. Look, there's the league table for the 60-second quiz. Aaron's got 5 right. Jon Spark's got 3. Sorry, Matt, I'm going to do it to you. I'm going to put you into the limelight for the quiz. Are you happy to step up and put yourself on that league table?
You ain't got much choice, have you?
Yeah, no.
Not really.
But
You can get involved in the chat as well. Let us know how many you get right. Steve, get your calculator out because I want you to count how many questions.
Can I be his phone a friend?
Potentially, but we've only got 60 seconds to do this. So what we need to do, Matt,
Don't get too many, Max. I've only got 10 fingers. I can't count that high.
put you in the limelight. You're gonna
Wow.
tell me when you are ready to go. When you're ready. You ready?
Yeah, ready as I'll ever be, Kirk.
Get involved in the chat. Let us know how many quiz questions you get right. Here we go.
The game begins in 3, 2, 1.
Last weekend.
Repeat the question.
What
didn't
team
hear any
did
of that.
Newcastle beat 5-1 last weekend?
Brentford.
Who scored Bournemouth's first goal in the 5-1 win at Craven Cottage in 2015?
Brett Pittman.
How many Premier League goals has Erling Haaland scored after 9 games?
19.
Incorrect. 15. How many clean sheets did Kasper Schmeichel get in Leicester's 2015-16 Premier League title win?
17.
Incorrect. 15. Who wears the number 20 shirt for Bournemouth this season?
Number 20 is Mark Ondes.
Incorrect. Sariki Dembele. Which team is bottom of the Championship?
Bottom of the Championship at the moment is Huddersfield. No, it's not, is it?
Incorrect. It's Coventry. So
Shocking.
you had such a good start as well. You got the first 2 correct. You did get Brett Pittman scored the first goal in that game at Craven Cottage, and you also got Newcastle beat Brentford 5-1. So you'll be going onto that league table, but it'll come around for another opportunity. You got 2 correct, and there'll be an opportunity to increase that as the season goes on. But it's pressure, isn't it, Matt? It's absolute pressure in there.
I managed to keep up with the scoring.
Did you? Yeah, well, it wasn't hard, was it? I mean, it's a bit like Popmaster on Radio 2. You're all right when you're listening in the car, but when you actually go on there, whew.
Was it 2, Steve? Just to make sure I was correct.
Yeah, mate, I got 2. I was all right.
2, absolutely correct. Anyone?
I don't know what it is about that little intro bit, but every week you can't hear your first question.
It's weird. I also tested it and it worked first time when I tested it the other day. So I don't know if it's because people are in the stream, but when I did it on my own, it worked absolutely fine. But I do apologise about that.
Shocking.
I think Sammy got 4, loads are going 20, 12, 15. That might be for the Kasper Schmeichel. It might be for the
That's a
Haaland.
difficult question. What was the answer to that one?
So the Erling Haaland was 15 goals over 9
No,
games.
no, not that.
Schmeichel, 15 clean
15.
sheets
Bloody hell.
in their Premier League title win. But let's get back on to the preview of Bournemouth versus Fulham. I don't think there's a presser out yet. If there is, it's released in the last hour. But there are images, Steve, of the players on the training ground. Rothwell's definitely on the grass.
Who?
Rothwell.
Oh,
Rothwell.
yeah.
Joe Rothwell that you saw in pre-season. He's on the turf. Yeah, looks like there's a good squad. There doesn't look like there's many injuries. I didn't see Junior Stanislas, but as we lead towards the World Cup, trying to pick up as many more points as we can, an opportunity to get some players some game time, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's only Stan and Brooksy that are unfit at the minute. But yeah, it's a happy hunting ground for us, isn't it? Going to Fulham. I mean, we've done. I think I read a stat there, earlier on in the week, that we've only lost once in our last 10 visits or 10 games against them, or 10 visits there. But so yeah, it's lovely. We all remember. Well, quite a few of us remember that Heady night, Heady Friday night 5-1. That was, the pinnacle of my trips to Craven Cottage. So yeah, I mean, there's people knocking on the door to get in the team. I think it probably come a bit too quickly for the likes of Joe Rothwell. I mean, you're not gonna leave the likes of Billion, who keeps just coming up and scoring. You're not going to leave him at the side. The recent run of form he's in, so I think he's going to have to really fight for that position. Which I said the other week. I think it's good that we actually have Rothwell back, because I think it's a bit of healthy competition for sort of Billion because I don't really think he's got anyone knocking on the door for that position, really. So yeah, it'd be nice to see him get some game time at a certain point. We've got the cup games coming up, haven't we? So we might see him there. But yeah, so I think we might sort of stick to the same old personnel though for this one. Maybe tinker it around the formation slightly because they'll be a different proposition than the previous game. I don't think Fulham are as pacey in going forward as Leicester are. So he might tinker with it a little bit there. We'll have to wait and see.
With a healthy squad though, Matt, does mean it's harder to pick a starting 11 and those players to sit on the bench. And with the likes of Siriki Dembele yet to get any type of Premier League minutes, and Jamal Lowe, I'm sure, is biting. He's ready to get on the pitch, but it's going to be tough, and it's hard to bring these players in. And as we've seen with Gary O'Neill, he's not too quick to make changes.
No, no, he's not. I think I wouldn't tinker about too much of it because the second half display was brilliant last week to a man, and I know he made some changes. The substitute. One thing he does do, Gary O'Neill, is he seems to get his substitutions bang on, and I don't know again if that's if that's early in his career, and there's a bit of a luck element to that. But at the moment, his decisions tactically and from a substitutions point of view, he's getting it absolutely bang on. The time, not just the actual personnel that he's bringing on, but the timing of them as well has been absolutely spot on so far. He's difficult to criticise at all. So, yeah, it's great that he's got pretty much a fully fit squad to choose from. It will be interesting to see what he does with the back four, whether he keeps Smithy in at left back and keeps Ryan Fredericks in at right back, or whether he brings Jordan Zamura back in. That will be the one area that I would expect maybe he looks at. Other than that, I think Ryan Christie didn't do himself any harm at all last week. Got the goal, obviously. Dom Solanke, as long as we can get Christie and Phil Billing close to him, which we didn't do in the first half, and the age-old problem, isn't it? But second half, it was far better. And then with Lerma and Lewis Cook in behind, it looks pretty solid. So I wouldn't expect too much change from that.
Well, let's get stuck into the predicted lineup then, as Matt discusses the players that could play in this game. Think I'm correct, guys? Just confirm it. I'm sure that's the starting lineup from the weekend. I didn't look it up, but I was there and I'm trying to remember it. Does that look right?
Yeah, spot on.
Cool. So, Steve, looking at that predicted lineup, I will zoom in a bit in a moment. You're not expecting many changes then from what I'm hearing from you. I think you're right in the fact that Gary O'Neill is setting up football teams to maybe consider what the opposition are doing. It worked. He sort of nullified Maddison. He got Smith to do a man marking job on him. But with this game and Dan James being quite quick, potentially down the right-hand side, is this more set up for maybe a battle with Jordan Zamora?
Oh, I was just about to say that. I think Jay-Z comes back in on the weekend. Exactly for that reason, because he's got pace. Dan James is electric. He's got blistering pace. So I think if you were to go down the route of putting, it's not the sort of battle that Smudge is going to win that one. I can see him picking it if you can have him there. I can see him being due a ban after that game. So I'd go with Jay-Z at the left back position, because I think that you're spot on. A little battle against Dan James could be quite tasty actually. Both quite speed merchants, and both sort of similar builds, really, aren't they? They're all sort of little explosive players. So yeah, it could be quite interesting that.
Ryan Fredericks did do a good job last weekend, Matt, but he did come off. Jack Stacey came on, had a little cameo. But are you expecting Smith to return to right back in this fixture, and maybe that sort of battle between Jordan Zamora and Dan James?
Yeah, I can see it'd be interesting, won't it, to see whether he goes Smith or Fredericks. And we took Fredericks off. Obviously, maybe he's lacking a little bit in match fitness, but as far as we know, he's not injured at all, is he? So he's in contention for starting on Saturday. So it'll be interesting. Smithy's not put a foot wrong for a long time now, and he's been Mr. Consistent for us over many years. So I'd be very surprised if he dropped him from the 11, to be honest. And Ryan Fredericks is a great option to bring off the bench as well. We saw it at Forest, didn't we? If things aren't going so well for us, and we need an outlet down that right-hand side, and if he wants to change formation and go towards a back three, Fredericks can slot into that wing back position, no problem at all. Whereas Adam Smith probably these days has maybe struggled to have the fitness and the energy at his age to where he is to do that maybe as good as well as effective as Fredericks can from the bench when he comes on fresh, bit of impetus. So I wouldn't be surprised if he goes for Smith and Zamura on Saturday and Fredericks plays a part second half maybe.
Ben Pearson, I think, was in training. I think he might have been, not too sure. But I don't expect much else to happen, Steve, going forward. Billing gets that goal. That's why you don't take him off. And with Ryan Christie using a stud underneath his boot to get it in for the winner, he probably keeps his spot as well. And do you agree that that's probably the one change is probably Fredericks out for Zamura in?
Yeah, I think so. I think... like Matt's just touched on there, I mean, if you bring Fredericks on, if you need to in the second half, and we go to a back three, then Smudger just comes inside, makes the other centre back up. So I can't see that changing. It's the only possible. Well, yeah, because you can't drop Tavernier either. So there's a case for Jaden Anthony, I suppose. But when he came on, even against. He scored against Forest, and we thought he'd done the same on the weekend against Leicester. He's looked lively, he's looked sharp, and he's looked really good. I mean, there was a little passage of play on the weekend where he skipped down the line, took it past about 2-3 players, and really, sort of. But is that what he's really utilised for now? Coming on and giving the rest of the team a bit of a breather, sort of, just herring up the wing on his own and just sort of taking the pressure off the back line a bit when we've got our noses in front. I hope not, because I think he's a bit more than that. But the way Tavernier's playing, I can't see him being dislodged. And obviously Christie's popping up with goals now and he's playing well for his national side. It's going to be a hard slog for him to get back in, but I still think there's a place and a job for him in the team. So that's the only sort of real area. I mean, we keep talking about Sariki. Will he ever get a chance? I just can't see it personally, not the way the team's playing. Until we go to those cup games, I don't think we'll see much of the other squad members, unfortunately, because why change I know I said about changing personnel, but it's only slight tweaks he does. He doesn't necessarily change 3 or 4 for one game. He'll change maybe one, like you say. Fredericks might come in, Zamora drop out. That's about all you'll see, and it's working for him. So he's not going to. I don't think he's going to change much.
Nah. Mark Singleton does say ex-player Fredericks, so he'll probably be well up for this. The only other conversation we could have, Matt, probably not a conversation, is potentially Kiefer Moore. He's always in a position to potentially start, but I think it does unbalance us. Even when we did beat Aston Villa, it just means Dom has to slightly play a different role. Billing then normally gets moved over to somewhere else, and it just doesn't feel right. And as much as I'm sure everyone loves Kiefer Moore, yeah, we just struggle to then balance the team up top when he starts.
If you're going to play him, it worked a treat against Villa, didn't it? I think it probably caught Villa a bit on the hop, didn't it? And a bit by surprise. They probably didn't expect us to go with a back three on that day, with Lerma tucking in to the back three, the way we set up with Kiefer and Dom up front. You can only really play him from the start in a back when we play that sort of formation, can't you? And if we're not going to do that, which I don't think we will, then again, it's an impact sub. But like Steve said with Jaden Anthony, it's great to have these options on the bench, isn't it? It's worked well. Jaden Anthony comes on against Forest, scores a goal. Could have scored last week, but for an offside flag. He's having a great impact from the bench, and Kiefer Moore can do that. So you've got to have these options from the bench at this level when things maybe aren't going your way. And they're great options to have. So I would expect maybe Kiefer Moore to be thrown on, depending on how the game is going after sort of 65, 70 minutes or so.
Yeah, I think the thing with Kiefer, though, is he can do. It depends on the situation, like you said. If we're chasing the game, he's a different dimension to get you a goal. If we're not, we're trying to hold on to something. He's an outlet to hold it up. So he's a great asset. Yeah, exactly. He's a great asset to have.
Yeah, definitely. It's great to have these options.
Mm-hmm.
We'll lock in that predicted 11 for this game, though. We think there'll be the one change for a balanced left-footed left-back and a right-footed right-back, with Senesi and Mepham keeping that partnership. Lerma, Cook, Christie, Tavernier, Billing and Solanke. Let's lock that one in for this match preview. Please do subscribe if you're new to the channel. Also hit the like button. And now it's time for you to get your score predictions in the chat. Let's go for it. Pre-match predictions. Couple of minutes, guys, for you to think about your score prediction for Fulham versus Bournemouth. But there are more games in the Premier League, of course, this weekend. Yes, we can see him on the screen right now. It's Brentford versus Brighton in match day 11 tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. Leicester versus Crystal Palace. Wolves against Nottingham Forest. Both those teams need some sort of result. Fulham, Bournemouth. Tottenham against Everton. Southampton against West Ham. Man United against Newcastle. Leeds, Arsenal. Aston Villa, Chelsea. Liverpool, Man City on Sunday. 4:30 Super Sunday kickoff. Apart from us, Steve, any other games that tickle your fancy this weekend in the Premier League?
Well, obviously the Liverpool City game. That's the one that sticks out a country mile, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, that'll be interesting. That'll really show us where Liverpool are, because everyone's sort of saying they're struggling a bit, which they didn't struggle too much against us, but ever since then they've been a bit inconsistent, and it's quite weird how they're actually below us in the table now. But they had a good result last night. They absolutely spanked Rangers 7-1. So that'll be interesting to see if they're as bad as we think they've turned out to be this season, against a Man City side that are just absolutely, well, they're just mesmerising at times. They're just different class. And Haaland is obviously we can stop him. We know the secret, but nobody else does, do they?
Yeah,
so
you need Chris Mepham in your team. That's
you do, yeah. But no, there's not too much really there. They're sort of, I don't know, maybe Man United at Newcastle's one could be a bit interesting. But yeah, the rest of them are pretty, not really fussed.
Yeah.
So yeah, probably those two I think are standout ones for me.
Matt, a few teams struggling in the Premier League. Wolves still managerless. Southampton are our next team after this weekend. And Steven Gerrard, he's hanging on against Chelsea this weekend.
Yeah, there's a couple of games that stick. I was going to say the Man United Newcastle one. It'd be really interesting to see how Newcastle fare at Old Trafford, because I really think they can go to Old Trafford and take the game to Man United and take some. It'd be interesting to see how Eddie gets on there and Newcastle. The other game that sticks out, there's a couple. The one that sticks out for me as being huge down at the bottom, and probably for us as well later in the season, is Wolves against Forest. That is a huge game. Not only is it sort of a Midlands derby, but it's huge for both of them. Both low on confidence, both not scoring goals, not firing on all cylinders. And the other game that sticks out really is Southampton West Ham. Yeah, we got Southampton Wednesday night, and we always said, I was saying to my old man on the phone the other day, Southampton aren't looking good, I think. And every time we say that, every time we play them in the Premier League, we've always said it, haven't we? We've always said leading into Southampton.
Be quiet then.
Yeah, they're not looking good. Then we can get something. And we've got such a poor record against them, really, in the Premier League. I'm just hopeful that that doesn't come back to bite us on Wednesday night, and they suddenly kick into gear, into form, and kickstart their season with a win against us, because that'll just spoil your whole week, wouldn't it, really? Or whole month.
I'll tell you what, there was another one, actually. I should have mentioned this, but the Arsenal-Brighton. Is it Arsenal-Brighton?
Arsenal versus Leeds.
Arsenal-Leeds.
Oh, was it Leeds? Sorry. I thought it said Brighton. Yeah, I can't. I'm watching this on my phone.
Brighton-Brentford.
Yeah.
At Brentford.
Oh, okay. So I thought it said Arsenal-Brighton, so I guess that could be tasty.
Not yet. Not in match day 11, Steve. To come.
I can't see it. It's on my phone. It's really small.
Right. AFC Bournemouth Germany has said there's 22 likes. So let's get those likes up as we go through these score predictions. 44 of you currently watching on YouTube. Thank you very much. And we're going to go through these score predictions. Let's get a couple out already as Matt and Steve really think about what they're going to predict for this fixture in London on Saturday. Neil Whedon is going for 2-2. Heathers going for 2-1. Carol Tuller is snap with 2-1 as well. And also Chris Hubble. I tell you what, Belter here from AFC Bournemouth Germany, he's going for 3-3 cracker in the Premier League. Let's stop there for a moment and let's get Matt's score prediction in a moment. Got a very good record, as Steve said, against Fulham. Don't think we've lost at Craven Cottage for 30 years, and we've scored in the last 3 fixtures at their ground. Matt, what's your score prediction on Saturday?
I can't remember in all the years I've been. Steve will back me up here. Probably us ever losing against Fulham at Craven Cottage. That 86-87 when we got, and the older fans, the over 40s amongst us will remember.
I've still got the programme from that one.
3-1, 1987. I think I was saying to Heather last night on text. Tony Seeley pops up with that goal. About 4,500 fans there. I think we went 1-0 down, and we won promotion that day to the second tier for the first time in our history. And then I remember 1998, Steve Robinson winner on a Tuesday night at Fulham, out of the blue, never expected to go there and win. Took a load of fans there because it's happy memories. The 5-1, a few years back in the Champions. We've got such 3-0, I remember, in the Premier League. David Brooks running the show. We've got such a great record at Fulham. I hope I'm not jinxing it here, but
I was just about to say we're going down for a 4-0 loss now, aren't we?
Last season 1-1. We were lucky to escape with a 1-1 as well, really, in many ways in the end. But again, that was a good result at the time. I'm going to go positive because we've got such a good record against them. Generally at home as well, we do okay. I'm going to say we're going to win 2-1. I get the 2-2 predictions and the 1-1 predict because my head might veer that way, but heart says 2-1. Keep saying Dom Solanke will get on the score sheet. I want him to again. He's a striker. He needs another goal. I'm backing him to get one, and the other one to come from Ryan Christie. He's on a roll.
Dom Solanke likes a goal at Craven Cottage. Definitely does like a goal. Right. Last weekend, I went for heart 2-1, which it was, and I went head 1-1. And I'm going to go the same. I'm going to go head 1-1, just like Gene Davenport, who I think's in America right now. It's 1-1, and that's my score prediction, Steve. Amanda's going for 2-1. That's a popular prediction right now. Mark Singleton's agreeing with me, 1-1. We remain unbeaten. Sammy sticking to 3 goals, but giving 2 to Fulham this weekend. Jon Spark's agreeing with me, 1-1 for the 3rd time in a row. There's a few more in the chat, Steve. So we've got a win. It was a win from Matt, wasn't it, Matt? Was it 2-1?
Yeah, 2-1.
2-1. 1-1 from me. How are you feeling about this game, Steve?
I'm feeling confident about it. I think, like Matt's just said, we've got a great history at Craven Cottage. They've lost their last 2, I believe, and shipped 7 goals in the process. We've tightened things up massively. Look really difficult to beat at the moment. So I'm going to go for a comfortable 2-0.
Oh, clean sheet.
Yeah.
The balanced centre-back partnership of Senesi and Mepham.
I think it is a little bit dependent on Mitrovic as well. This is whether he starts or not. I think that could be a big sway. But I'm going to base it on the fact that he hasn't started the last couple of games, and I'm going to go for that 2-0.
That'd be a real battle if he does start. Wing has gone for a clean sheet, just like you, Steve. He's gone for 2-0.
He knows, that's why.
2-1. Dan, how are you? 2-1. Morgan, who won one of our prizes this evening, 2-1 as well. And Liam, normally see him in the North Stand, 1-1. Neil, he's in with 1-1 as well. AFC Bournemouth, Germany's correct. It was 1992 the last time Fulham won at home.
What, any game?
Yeah.
3-1 to the
Against us.
Yeah. Neto to score. Yeah. Not quite sure he's Alice.
He's getting the second, he is.
Lots of score predictions in there. Lots of positivity, and that's because we're 5 unbeaten. And it's going to be a great fixture. Look, let's finish this preview. We haven't spoken much from our side about Fulham, but you did talk a bit about it, Steve. It's going to be a big battle. Some good players in there. Dan James has got the pace. Mitrovic will be a lot to handle if he's playing, and they've got some good talent in Pereira.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Well, who's it got sent off last game?
Who did get sent off last game?
For the Dawson thing. Was that Pereira?
I think it was Pereira, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, so he won't be playing then, will he? Unless I've got that wrong. I remember watching it on Match of the Day. He sort of rugby tackled.
Confirm that in the chat.
He rugby tackled Dawson, didn't he? Or kept grabbing
He gave
him.
away the penalty. Did he? Did
he get sent off? I don't know. I might be making that up.
You did. Yeah, you did.
You just gave away the penalty. He never got sent off.
Well, I'm trying to find Fulham as we speak, and if anyone's got it in the chat, who got sent off for Fulham last week?
Maybe no one did. I've just completely imagined that.
I don't think Pereira.
Anyway, yes, he is a talent. Yeah, he's a very good player. He did score a good goal actually. The lad who's talking on, who was on earlier, I think Paulinho, he's been a really good signing for them. Really, really good player. So he can hit one as well. He scores a couple of goals for them. He looks a good prospect. But I think we've got more than enough to match them up, and I think I'd really like to see that battle between Mitro and no one did get sent off, did they? I've just completely made that up.
I'm just looking behind the scenes in Sofa Store. No one got sent off.
There's about half a bottle of whiskey in here. Don't worry. I think we've got more than enough. I'd love to see that battle between Mitro and our two centre backs, because I think they're forming a nice little partnership now. I think they're getting a bit of confidence in their play. So I'd like to see them take on a real challenge in Mitrovic. That would be yes, that was it. It was Chalobah that got sent. That was the other week, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I knew. So he won't be playing. So they
only a one-match ban though.
Oh, was it a straight or 2 yellows?
I can't remember.
Yeah, I thought it was a straight because wasn't it after about 8 minutes?
There we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Right, wasn't it, at Newcastle? Yeah.
Final thoughts, Matt. It's going to be a tough fixture, and they've got some very good players, and so have we.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough fixture, but every game is for us at this level, isn't it? There's no easy games. What it is a great away day on the Thames. I can't wait. I love Fulham away. I think it's a brilliant away day. We'll have a few beers, a few laughs, whatever happens. Up the Cherries, we'll enjoy it, won't we? We'll have a crack with each other. We'll meet up. Let's have it. Let's bring it on.
Definitely. Really enjoyed this preview then. So make sure you subscribe to Cherries Red Army. Also hit the like button. We had our opposition guest, Matt from Fulham Focus. We had the prize giveaways. Well done to Sammy and Morgan. We also had Matt in the quiz. He'll get another chance to improve that later on in the season. We looked at that predicted lineup.
The questions were shocking. I didn't hear the first one. 15 seconds gone. I mean, come on.
I know. It's absolutely daylight.
You're asking for a steward's inquiry?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Well, I am saying these sort of first round quiz sessions are sort of like it's a warm up. All right. So
does that mean the second round's going to change format?
Yeah, absolutely. Like we'll get the music working correctly.
It's going to be spot the difference and put up a black screen. You got
definitely. And obviously we got those score predictions. So thank you, Matt, for joining us on this latest match preview. And I will see you in London on Saturday.
Yes, looking forward to it, Kirk. Yeah, very much so.
Brilliant. Steve, hope to grab a drink off you on Saturday, if that's okay.
Off me? Do I owe you one then, do I?
I don't know. It'd be nice if you bought me one.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. Yeah, no, I'll see you there. I'll have the Sprogs in tow. So yeah, I'll be up there at about midday, I expect.
Thank you to our sponsors, Aquashine Exteriors. Make sure you check them out. Their details are in the description below. Thank you to our monthly members and anyone who's donated recently. I think Dave Holman's become a new member and joined our amazing members that we've had for a long time now. You really do support the channel and it really, really does help. So thank you very much. And you can do that at buymeacoffee.com/Cherries Red Army. On this match preview, though, it's Bournemouth. Fulham haven't lost to them for 30 years. We're not going to lose on Saturday either because Gaz O'Neill is unbeaten. Thanks for joining us. Have a good day Saturday wherever you follow the Cherries, and let's get a good result. Until the next one, look after yourselves and we'll see you soon. Up the Cherries.
Up the Cherries.
You Reds.